media.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I have some amazing breaking news to talk about. I know some people are going to say, look, we've known about this for a long time. It's been out there. Not to this extent. In fact, I have an old graph that I want to go over that shows just how deep the K-Stanny, and we're going to say K-Stanny because of YouTube censors, movement goes within our Canadian government. This is why it's important that we question our governments, even those that are coming into office. This is why I say I'm always here to try and protect the best interest of our viewers, to make sure there's no buyer's remorse when it comes into our next government, but also to illustrate in this video why certain things are happening within our government and just how deep it goes. Now, we all know Jagmeet Singh is banned from traveling to India. We know that he cannot travel to India. I've heard rumors he can't get into the United States either. Again, that's just hearsay. I'm assuming it's under the same reasons that he can't go to India. But ultimately, his funding has come from high levels of corruption. It has been now detailed as the, I guess you could say, verbal war between India and Canada breaks out between Justin Trudeau and their government based on deporting their representatives by supporting others. When we talk about Mr. Najjar and K-Stans and Terry organizations, again, I'm sorry for all the censorship. YouTube likes to bury this kind of stuff, and we have to be very careful about how we get into this. I'm going to show you some clips that have come out. Again, a big shout out to Moose on the Loose. He recently covered this, but there's more to what he covered I want to get into today, and we're going to get into it right now here on the channel. Let me minimize this video for you. Let's go through this clip bit by bit, what this means, why we have to question Jagmeet Singh's funding, but also other parties. Let's start it off.
18 accessed exclusive documents suggesting potential links between Khalistani terrorists and Canada's new Democratic Party, NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh, who was an ally of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Now, these documents reveal that between 2017 and 2021, donations were reportedly made by individuals tied to the Khalistani movement to the NDP. The documents prove how deeply the K-terror element is embedded in Canadian political system. This link, in fact, virtually rules out the Canadian state snapping its links with K elements anytime soon.
They're calling it K-trash and essentially saying K elements. One of the most important things to note here, when it comes to the NDP's funding, they recently just paid off a massive loan to cover their costs for the last federal election, which means they're out of money. Now, when it comes to the next federal election next year, they're going to need more funding when it comes time to go door knocking, to run their campaigns. Where do you guys think they're going to get that money from?
In fact, CNN News 18 spoke to Canadian journalists Daniel Boardman and Ben Exadel about the big revelation on the K funding going on in Canada. Take a look at that exclusive conversation that we had with them.
Daniel Boardman, we would like to say any Canadian citizen is free to donate to any particular party and it's not illegal. But what's wrong is that these are all wanted persons with Interpol red corner notices, Khalistani elements, and a dossier for their extradition, and with their entire list of laundry list of crimes is with the Canadian authorities since 2018.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a great look. I mean, listen, you're right. If you're a Canadian citizen, you have the right to donate to political parties. That's not a crime. What I've always raised awareness of, and what a lot of people in my circles have sort of been concerned about different extremist movements, is Canada seems to be very, very susceptible to foreign interference through political funding, because it's not so much getting one super rich guy to fund you. Like, the max donation is around $1,500. So the real problem with foreign interference funding is the way the Canadian system is set up is if you have people, in this case Khalistanis, who all share a similar ideology and receive certain foreign funding, in this case would be Pakistan or China. If you have, let's say, the ISI or someone come in with $10, $15, $20, $50,000 worth of cash, you can divide that among 40 to 50 people, have them all donate at the maximum, and then have a lot of influence with the candidates. And, Does that mean this is what's going on here? Maybe it's a data point that indicates that there maybe was a Khalistani push to increase funding, of course, to Khalistani-aligned candidates. Jagmeet Singh would be one of the most likely recipients of that because he holds a lot of power and he is philosophically aligned fully with the Khalistani movement.
Now, this is where I wanted to bring in other optics from what Moose on the Loose reported. So ideally, what he's saying here is that while we are free to donate to any political party in Canada, which is great, what's happening in these movements is that one major donator, essentially, or a couple of guys with very deep pockets throughout this movement are giving money to those who support the movement to essentially, instead of money coming from one large entity that could be fact-checked, that could be told, nope, you're not allowed to donate that much money to this cause, they're spreading it out amongst their members, amongst their people, so that it's untraceable, so that it comes through via this movement to give them money. But it's not just Jagmeet Singh that we have to worry about. I want to bring up this diagram. Let's move this over, sorry. Pardon that it's zoomed in. I got this from somebody that sent it to me on X, and I think it's very telling of where our money is going when it comes to politics across the board in Canada. This is the WSO K-Stand connections. Again, you look at the World Sikh Organization down here. Okay, we're going to go through this bit by bit. You've got the founder of the World Sikh Organization, Gyan Singh Sandhu, who is also the father of a Supreme Court judge in British Columbia, Palbinder Kaur Shergill. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names, but he's also the father of Majinder Singh Sandhu, PhD, married to Sejan's sister, who right down here you can see husband of Amarjit Kaur, sister of Harjit Sudan. But Harjit Sudan is also the Minister of Emergency Prep and former Minister of Defense, who was the brother of Amarjit in our political system. And it goes down here to Manjit Vinning, Senior Special Assistant to Sejan. Now, if we go back to the founder of this WSO, contact of that founder over here to the right is Jarnail Singh. I can't pronounce that last name, sorry. Slain K-Stan militia leader, who is another contact down here. You'll see of Dr. Sohan Singh Halan, who is a K-Stan ideologue, who is the father of Yasraj Halan, Conservative MP. Now, MP Halan has offered to come on the show. I met him in the summer at Pierre Poilievre's, well, his essentially MP Halan's Stampede barbecue or breakfast, and Pierre was essentially doing a promotion there for just axing the tax. I talked to him there about coming on the show. Again, I've been in touch with his representatives. So this is maybe something we'll have to ask him about. Because again, what's important here is this is highlighting how deep this connection goes and how this can interfere. When we talk about foreign interference from China, from India, this is essentially where this is coming into our political system. It goes deep. Now, it's not saying here that MP Halan, and I want to make it very clear, is not tied necessarily financially to the Khalistan movement, because we've heard Pierre Poilievre in the House of Commons, again, saying that they wish that this was labeled a terror organization. But ideally, I would have to consider, because of his father's positions as an ideologue, what ties he has, because, of course, you all know family comes first. What does that mean in our political system? Now, I want to get closer in over on this side. Coming out of the World Sikh Organization, you've got Nadiv Bains, who's a former WSO National Executive, former Minister of Innovations. He gave contracts to Harkesh Sohi, shareholder and director of White Rock Ventures, who's also the brother of Amarjit Sohi, who is the corrupt woke mayor of Edmonton, former minister and former councillor. When you go back to the organization again, shows here that people be meeting those funding as well is Jagmeet Singh, leader of the NDP, and Bardish Chhagar, Minister of Small Businesses. But again, when we go back to Navdeep Bains, you can see next to there Yazdev Singh Grawal, who's the former WSO board member and is the father of corrupt woke mayor, installed mayor, I might add, Jyoti Gondek, who is the mayor of Calgary. We've all seen what she's done to Calgary. You've also got Karan Binder, former WSO national vice president, who was the wife of Tim Upal, again, conservative MP. Whose ties are sitting in here, and where's the money coming from to fund these people? What ideologues are being pushed into our political system? I know you can't see it because it's cut off here, and if I push anymore, it's probably going to cut out. But you've got Ram Ragdir Chahal, former WSO international president, who is the father of George Chahal, who's also a Liberal MP. This goes very deep in our Canadian political system. This is all fact. These are all people who are tied to the K-Stan movement that, again, people like Pierre Poilievre have said they want it to be labeled a terror organization. So what happens to these MPs that are in his party? This is, again, where I want to go back to the video in question. Let's take a look at what more they talk about here.
So this particular thing is hard to do something if you're Canada, right? You giving money, again, is not a crime to political parties. But this is something that should be highly concerning. And this is something the NDP, if Canada was a functioning country with a functioning core of journalists, this is a question that should be asked Jagmeet Singh. He would at least have to be asked this question and answered what type of funding he gets from people on the no-fly list. This is the type of deterrence, or at least soft deterrence, that should exist in our societies. If, you can get money into the political party, but if you're getting money from, Osama bin Laden's butler, in a way, like, maybe you should be asked questions about that. So here, where we have a situation where I think everyone, and this was said, everyone kind of feels so confident to push whatever radical ideology they have, Khalistan, Muslim Brotherhood, CCP affiliated, this is Canada, where there's chaos on the streets, multiple times a week.
Not just that, Daniel. Here's the point. Jagmeet Singh needs to be asked, why is it on record and the numbers show that these so-called Khalistanis have killed more Sikhs than Hindus? They have attacked Sikhs more than they have attacked Hindus. That's one.
That makes sense. Because
Secondly, what they claim as Khalistan has got nothing to do with Sikh land. This has got nothing to do with the erstwhile Raja Ranjit Singh Sikh Empire. All that they ask for is sovereign territory of Bharat. It's got nothing to do with anything Sikh. Because the Sikh capital was Lahore. Okay, Guru Nanak Dev was born in Nankana Sahib, he and Kartarpur Sahib. These are the two places which should be, and Punjab Sahib. All of these are in Pakistan. They are not in India. They are not part of the Khalistan list at all. They have not even.
That's how Khalistan is. Huh? Khalistan is an excuse to run around destabilizing Western countries and other countries. That's what it is. And why are more Sikhs attacked than Hindus? Because they're a bigger problem for the Khalistani movement if they don't fall under the umbrella, right? If you're wearing a turban as a Sikh and opposing Khalistan, that's a big problem. So they attack you, right? All of this. Is Israel really the problem with the jihadists on our streets? No. What's their problem? They want more jihad. What's their excuse? Israel for now. So it'll be something else in 15 minutes if they need it. Same thing with the Khalistan. This is just an excuse for violence and chaos.
No, but that cannot be Terry Millerski, the official position of a government and its prime minister who stands in the British on the Canadian Parliament and eulogizes a terrorist, a wanted entity who was denied entry into Canada, and he entered Canada under false pretext and false documents.
Yes, it's true that we are still wrestling with the mystery of how Hardeep Singh Nijjar managed to become a citizen of Canada. And when the question was first raised, confidence was hardly improved by the fact that the immigration minister had to change his answer, didn't seem to get it right. Nobody in Canada really knows how, having first approached Canada with false documents and been denied, and then secondly approached with a bogus marriage, a marriage of convenience, and was denied again. And then on the third, I'm afraid I can't tell you what happened, because we don't know how did he get citizenship. So there are multiple questions to be answered arising from these documents.
Now, I agree that there's multiple questions that need to arise from these documents, but those questions also, when it comes to the integrity of our elections, when it comes to the interference of foreign entities, this is why not just the 11 that are tied to, I guess, entities in China. We need a deep dive into the swamp that essentially is our Canadian political system as to how and why we have all of this interference coming from other countries. How deep does it go in each party? I don't care if you're Conservative, NDP, Bloc, Liberal, Green Party, whatever it may be. You have no business taking money from outside entities that are going to corrupt our political system and interfere in our elections. This is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, when it comes to Mr. Najjar, again, we all know how he became a Canadian citizen under false documents. Money talks, BS walks. Follow the money. I'm sure that if people like Jagmeet Singh were actually questioned and investigated on this matter as to where money came from, we'd probably get our answers. And of course, the government is going to try to skate by this as much as possible. But these are the reasons. Again, when I show this photo of the connections in our Canadian political system, we have to ask, because we've seen again, and I'll point down to Mayor Gondek and Mayor Sohi of Edmonton and Calgary. If you're not aware of what they've done to their cities, they absolutely have demolished them. When you look at Jagmeet Singh, his ties to the NDP, again in Alberta, they've got their hands in unions. They've got their hands in everything that goes with our medical system, our political system. You've now got people like Naheed Nenshi coming in to represent the NDP in Alberta, which again, I would question if he's on this list. Now, when it comes to any representative that is currently sitting in the House of Commons, again, whether you're Liberal, whether you're Conservative, I am not accusing anybody in this video, merely saying we have to ask questions, we deserve answers as Canadians. I think that this movement should be labeled as a terror organization, and anybody involved of taking money from these organizations should be expelled, removed from their parties. They should have no place in government in Canada. The whole purpose of running in government in Canada is to look after Canada. It is not to bring your politics in from other countries and turn our country into somebody else's. This is national security on a global scale. And I, for one, am deeply worried as we go into our next federal election, what this means for our country. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I guess question of the day, do you think Jagmeet Singh should be investigated on this matter? And do you think all of these MPs should be investigated on this matter? And should we demand a paper trail as to where they're getting their money from and where those donors are getting their money from when they donate to these political parties and what movements they're a part of? Let me know your answers down below in the comments. Please make sure to leave a thumbs up and a comment on the way out. It helps push this video out, as YouTube, no doubt, is going to attempt to censor this video at every cost. They do not want this kind of information getting out about the government. It gets us past the algorithm if you do that. If you enjoyed this video, I hope it has earned your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please click that button down below. Hit the bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show where we go over everything that's happened this week in politics, everything coming up that we're aware of in the week ahead, as well as some back and forth within our community. It's always great to hear what you guys have to say outside of making these videos, and I look forward to it each and every Friday night here on the channel with my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe. And I look forward to seeing you guys this Friday starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.